There's a streaming war going on, and you're all going to want to be a part of it. After all, there's so much stunning content on offer, you really can't get enough. And while it was just between three basic platforms, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime, now we've got a whole host of key players who's entering the mix. Of course, if you're getting down to subscribing to every single service on an annual basis, you're likely to be spending a little over $680 a year or roughly $57 a month if you pick the basic plans for each of these services. But if that's not a bank-breaking moment you're looking for, here is a pros and cons breakdown of each of the streaming platforms, functional and upcoming, so you know what you really want to spend your moolah on. First up, Netflix, aka the guys who started this whole streaming boom. They basically invented the wheel that we're on now, and they anticipated the streaming war a lot longer before it all started. What's to love? Well, they've got a sizable library of content from around the world, both original and syndicated. But their winning strategy has been their original programming, right from the first few shows like Orange is the New Black and House of Cards to newer presentations like Stranger Things and Glow. Even though they've lost show streaming rights to shows like Friends and The Office, there's enough in the Netflix arsenal to keep you hooked. What's not to love? Well, the pricing is a tad steep for one. You're essentially paying a minimum of $8.99 a month, and that's only for single screen access. But while that may be justified by the sheer volume of content, the quality of content is largely questionable. The gap between the greatness of a lot of Netflix content and that which is available on other platforms isn't that much, if we're being honest. Particularly when you look at shows like Luke Cage, which have great ideas but next to no brilliance in execution. Then we've got Amazon Prime. The biggest pro here? The fact that you get free delivery and Prime services along with Whole Foods discounts thanks to this annual membership. Didn't know that, did you? For $119 a year or $12.99 a month if you're not an annual commitment type of person. Aside from that, what works for Amazon is that it's a good place to shop for an unspecified mix of syndicated content from Mr. Robot to Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's also a whole bunch of Emmy-winning content, most notably shows like Fleabag and Transparent, along with the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But then comes the downside, which is a lot of good-looking dad content, which contains shows like Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan and The Man in the High Castle. Prime is also likely to lose a lot of its syndicated HBO content once HBO Max comes out, but more on that later. Hulu was easily the cooler, younger sibling to streaming networks like Netflix and Amazon Prime and was initially started as a three-way partnership by ABC, Fox, and NBC. The good sides? You'd get access to live TV aside from streaming video on-demand content, and Hulu became quite the hub for older TV shows like ER or 30 Rock. Downsides? Well, barring a few eclectic shows and the critical hit The Handmaid's Tale, Hulu had little to offer on the originals front. And now that NBC's stake has been picked up by Disney and Fox has been bought out by Disney too, where does that leave Hulu and its streaming service? Good thing is Hulu just inked a deal with FX for a direct supply of shows to the platform, so that's bound to keep viewers around for a little longer until they're tired and leave. The most basic ad-supported plan comes from a cute $5.99, but if you're looking for no ads and live TV, it's a step at $15.99 a month. CBS All Access is next in line, or should we say the place where everyone watches Star Trek? CBS has a solid track record. They've got the OG CBS programming to look forward to, especially if you're an NCIS fan, or you can binge on the newer material like the Good Wife spin-off or the new Star Trek Discovery. All Access comes for a measly $5.99 a month with ads and $9.99 without. But if you're not a Trekkie, there's little you'll enjoy otherwise. Of the newest services that have just started or are on the conveyor belt over, Apple TV Plus was the first to make its debut on November 1st. They've not got a massive library to keep you hooked, and their original programming isn't getting the reviews to boot, especially going by the feedback on The Morning Show and See. But then again, at a lowly $4.99 a month or a free annual subscription for anyone who buys a new Apple gadget, that's the best you can expect for now? Guess so. Disney Plus is next in the line with a debut on November 12th. Of course, this is the direct pass to your childhood with a whole host of catalog programming that can keep you busy as they roll out the newly produced original content. Thanks to their acquisitions, Disney Plus has Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Disney content for you to stream, along with some behind-the-scenes and additional DVD-like features for some of the content. While their price isn't that high at $6.99 a month, their content quality could give Netflix a run for its money. The downsides we perceive are possibly a weak user interface and the question of whether the original series programming will match up to the expectations. But other than that, this seems pretty solid. For the other platforms that have been announced but are yet to be launched, we've got two contenders, namely Peacock by NBC Universal and HBO Max by, well, HBO. Peacock hasn't even shared any details about how much it'll cost, or if it'll be free for cable subscribers, or if it'll be ad-supported syndication like Hulu or CBS All Access. For now, we know that originally produced NBC shows like Parks and Recreation will be on Peacock, despite the unfortunate name, but shows like Friends and Seinfeld will only be found elsewhere since they weren't originally NBC creations, and we might know more closer to the launch date of April 2020. HBO Max, on the other hand, is the most expensive brother in the fray with a monthly subscription of $14.99. We're still unsure if it comes as a free add-on for all cable subscribers, but we'll hedge our bets on that anyway, knowing more when the launch happens in May 2020. Basically an expansion set for the already existing HBO Now, HBO Max will bring back all original HBO-created content under one roof, most notably Game of Thrones. It will also bring non-HBO content to the umbrella, right from Friends to The West Wing to library acquisitions of Studio Ghibli, Rick and Morty, and BBC shows like Doctor Who. The downside here is that they could likely dilute the HBO-ness of their content with so many acquisitions, but we'll see if their original programming continues to trump that. So what streaming services are you pledging your loyalties to? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out all our other content too, and don't forget to subscribe.